This is the Morning News with Bruce Kenyon on News Talk 770 Radio, Calgary's breaking news and conversation station.
7:47. Speaking with us now from Oxford, England, is Katarina Johnson about some research she's done into endorphins, isn't it, Katarina?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
So we were looking at whether people vary in their social network sizes, and in particular whether this may be related to the activity of a brain chemical called endorphin.
So how did you do the test? What did you do?
Yes, so we had just over 100 participants in, and because endorphins basically stay in the brain, so it's very hard to measure them directly unless you extract spinal fluid. We used sort of a proxy measure by asking them to perform a pain tolerance test, and in particular, it was called the wall sit test. So you might have heard of it if you're a keen gym goer, but basically you have to squat against the wall with your knees at a 90-degree angle. So it's basically like you're sitting on a chair, but there's not a chair there.
Right.
And we timed how long participants were able to endure this physical pain test. And then also in terms of the social networks, we were actually looking at sort of their real-life social networks rather than social media. So we asked them to list members of their network, and in particular we were interested in sort of the closest social circles, so those individuals you contact on sort of a weekly and a monthly basis.
Okay, friends. All right, and so you're telling me that the people who had friends fared better than those who were loners?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this was what we found in our study, and so it does suggest that perhaps our social health and feeling connected to others may mean that our body is better primed to deal with pain. And the reason why we sort of investigated this and thought we might have this finding is that endorphins sort of are part of our pain and our pleasure circuitry. So they're our body's natural painkillers, but they're also sort of activated, when we have pleasurable social interactions. So, for example, when we see our friends. And that was, what we found.
Okay, so basically, if you have healthy friendships and you're in a healthy relationship, you're likely to be a little healthier brain-wise than maybe someone who doesn't have that.
Yeah, so it's very, hard to sort of pick out the details here. Obviously, there's, such complex, interactions between, chemicals in your brain that can make you feel sort of happy or, all these different emotions and feelings that we get. But, our results do suggest that keeping our social bonds close to us, may be important, and perhaps really sort of we should not just consider how to keep up with our physical and our mental health, which we often hear about on the news, but also sort of think of it sort of as a trio that involves our social health as well. And in fact, some studies suggest that people with larger social networks and more social support may in fact live longer.
Okay. Did you test? Doesn't cocaine also produce endorphins?
So the endorphin system is basically sort of, is involved in providing us with reward. And so, people can get addicted to endorphins. So this is one of the reasons, for example, it's thought to be, involved in, for example, if people are addicted to smoking or alcohol or sort of exercise and these sort of things. So people basically, their body gets used to having more and more of these endorphins in their system. And so, they need more of it for a high. But, really what we should do is, certainly, not do anything that's bad for our health, for example, taking drugs or, drinking too much alcohol, but instead triggering this endorphin system in the natural way, for example, through social interactions. And after all, we've evolved as social animals. So, that's what it's sort of really there for.
Okay. Very good advice. Yes. Go for friends, not heroin. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Katarina, we appreciate it. Thank you very much for the explanation.
No, you're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good day. It's Katarina Johnson. She's the doctoral student at Oxford in England. It makes sense,
I feel sometimes I'm addicted to you, like our friendship. And I'm working.
Stop.
And I leave work and I'm not as happy because Bruce is gone.
Stop.
The Morning News, weekdays starting at 5:30 a.m. on News Talk 770 Calgary.